All right, welcome to the Boundaries and Brotherhood with my co-host, Miss Carrie Pullaro from Worthy as Fuck. And oh, did I just swear? Damn,
You did,
Worthy
and I
AF.
love it.
Worthy AF. I'm so, but I can bleep that out or whatever. But we had an awesome week. Everything was going fine. I just wanted to say, hey, Carrie, reintroduce yourself and we get to the topic.
Oh my God, I'm Carrie Pullaro. I am a relationship coach, and I really support independent women just really tuning into themselves and realizing that they're worthy as fuck and they're the prize, and help them attract men that who love their drive and really see them for who they are authentically.
Beautiful. That leads into our subject today, because our subject today, which is going to be so cool, is it kind of like tallies off of what Carrie's been doing with her business, her coaching, her career. The topic is embracing imperfection and the power of acceptance in your relationships. How has that turned? I'm going to see Miss Pullaro grow into this role from what she used to be. How is the constant pursuit of perfection molded your relationships and yourself, even for your clients?
So I think this is it goes so much deeper too, because it's like,
Yes.
why am I seeking the perfection? Where did I learn that mistakes hold hefty consequences? Because for me, I felt like mistakes were like certain death. Like at that point, I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be rejected. Those were all little things that I had learned when I was younger. And so when I carry that into the relationship, it just doesn't work.
Give me a story. Give me
Um,
that because people like to hear stories and how you overcame these things. You know, so much pressure everywhere, social media, your relationships, your other half, your mom, your dad, whoever, your family, even in advertising in your own minds. How much pressure is that in there? And tack a story on there.
So I know I'm going to use my past relationship as an example. There was a period where, and I know I talk about this a lot online, I tested positive for herpes and I hadn't had this acceptance of that. I formed a lot
Oh,
of judgment around that because now it's like, oh my God, all the thoughts that come along with that. I'm going to be
right.
single forever. No man's going to accept me. Like all the things. Then you get in relationship with someone who accepts you clearly.
Uh-huh.
You've been honest. You tell them all the things. They've accepted you, but you don't accept you. And so now it's projected onto them of, now you're gonna reject me. Like, you see things that aren't necessarily there. Like, maybe you're not attracted to me because you're not complimenting me. Like, if for me, I would make shit up. Like, "Oh my God, well, he's not complimenting the way that I look. He must not be attracted to me. Must be the herpes." Do you know what I mean? Like,
So
just
you put the
automatically
blame,
assign it to
actually.
something.
That was a flaw that you would check back off to kind of like substantiate your claims.
Yeah.
But how does that play into your new relationships? When you compare them both.
Oh my God. And so, well, I think back then I really blew up a lot of relationships because I was carrying that along with me, projecting it onto them. And then also holding them to what I said was a standard when it really wasn't a standard. Perfectionism isn't a standard. It's just like, it really is like a trap that
I
you
was
take
just about to
yourself
say
in.
the word.
Chase. I'm chasing this level that I'll never quite reach. And if I do reach it, I'm just going to raise the bar anyway. So it doesn't even matter. That's how I would approach my relationships. I expect them to be someone else. I expect them to be someone else. It doesn't
Heard that.
matter who they are because I'm only seeing them through the lens in which I see myself, which is imperfect, flawed. Something's wrong with me. I can't get it right. All of the judgment that I have around myself is how I'm going to view them. Until I worked all of that out, I wasn't able to be in acceptance of my partner.
True, true. That's really deep because at the same time, you chasing that dream, you chasing that imperfection. How did you fix that? What was the aha moment that made you fix that actually?
Yeah, well, I did a lot of self-worth work. I think one of the biggest things was to realize that the things that had happened to me over the years didn't define who I was. You program yourself based on the experiences that you have. For example, getting pregnant at 14, having an abortion, judgment there. Testing positive for herpes in my 20s, judgment there. Being divorced twice, judgment there. There's like a whole lot of different things that I was judging myself for. Those pivotal moments were, I was taking them and creating meaning about myself.
Mm,
So I would create the meaning, attach the meaning to myself, and it would now define who I was moving forward It was like I was tattooing myself in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Basically, you're scarring yourself for nothing because you the exhaust. Let me ask you this thing: the exhaustion, the disconnect, and from being your true self compared to now, two different people. Talk about that because that's what's interesting to me because I've seen you change through the years.
Thank you for saying that, because sometimes I'll look back at our conversations when we first met, and I'm like, "Oh, wow, I was so different back then." Like, so different. And, yeah, there was a lot of shame. That was when I was really doing the heavy work in the beginning.
I think back then you was actually finding out about these things and you didn't know how to react.
I didn't know how to react, and then I'm trying to create a coaching business, and I'm like,
Right.
"Whoa, like, how can I be a coach if all of these things are wrong with me?" Right? I was still looking through the lens
Putting
of
it that.
everything's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really powerful to
That's
overcome that.
that's fascinating. That you actually put those things that because you have so many ways, so many angles, so many different things, but even through the years, like I remember you went on the herpes thing. You was trying to find that angle. You was trying to find that niche. You was trying to find that audience. You find that avatar. And now you hit a home run was like you find women that want to be treated the way that you because they're the prize. Because that's what all women want. You just have to find the right partner. And if all of those imperfections, the illusions, the disconnect, all that stuff doesn't align, you make excuses for yourself because, oh, he's not going to talk to me though. Because I watch some of your stuff like, what in the world is, where did that angle come? And I'm talking from a guy's point of view that has some sort of intelligence, right? I mean, explain some of that part. You mean,
What finally landed for me was, oh my God, relationships, because how I treat my relationships is how I treat myself. How I view my relationships is
that
how
is
I view myself. And until
big.
I can have that relationship with myself and really love who I am, I'm not going to be able to have a relationship. All the wounding will dictate who I choose to be in relationship with. And that will reinforce all of the wounds.
Yeah.
And if I'm not aware of that, then I think everybody's an asshole.
I mean, of course, because that's a natural thing. You start
Right.
reflecting, you start doing stuff. You're not catching it on the surface. Let me ask you this now. How has self-love, compassion, self-acceptance with your flaws affect your relationship moving forward with Abel?
So that's good because there's a lot of compassion. Because it's like, it's interesting because you attract someone, at least my experience is I'm going to attract someone that's going to reflect some pieces. I thought I go heal and then I get into a relationship, right? Like, and then someone said to me, "Oh, you're going to be on that
No.
journey forever, girl. You'll be
Yeah,
alone."
that's that's a battle.
And then I was like, "Oh my God, well, what would happen to, yes, do your work. And when you meet someone, that's when I felt like that was when the real healing occurs because you learn this level of acceptance. Because the reality is I want someone to accept me with all my flaws and all, no
Yeah, me
matter
too.
what, no matter how I show up with like crazy hair, ugly face, crying, whatever I go through, I want to be accepted. And I get to be that for someone else as well. I get to accept them with all their stuff and not be attached to their stuff either, right?
That
Not
is
be attached to what they're going through. Understand that it has nothing to do with me. It's just their, not be, I don't want them to be someone else. I've gone through that before,
right,
trying to make you be somebody else that I want
right.
you to be. That doesn't work.
Because he's trying to mold you. If he's along with you for the ride, because whether it's grace, whether it's energy, whether it's aura, whether it's in God, whoever you believe in, if it's something that's meant to be and stuff like that, you will know because that's where you're at. There, because you've been through you've been down that other path already of all this imperfection, the excuses, the trauma, the not forgiving, the unattachments of things that didn't even matter at sometimes. But now, when you have compassion for Abel and you guys' life that you guys created, the vulnerabilities become strengths. How does that work for you now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, sharing some of the things that I would never really share with other people, being able to have that level of honesty. It was for me like getting clear on my values, right? Like what was really important to me was honesty, integrity.
Of course.
Yeah, those were my main two values and commitment. Like
Okay.
those three
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
those all come together. And really just when I got connected with him it was, we can have these conversations and not create an environment where there's going to be judgment. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to be triggered by difficult conversations, but be able to receive in a way that allows the space to feel safe. I think that's the most important thing, creating a safe environment all the time.
Oh, that's a number one because it frees up a lot of animosity, a lot of judgment. It frees up space where you can have that open conversation, where you can have those boundaries together, but also be able to expand those boundaries because you guys are both growing into the situation. How does it make it who you are now as a coach, as a worthy as AF coach? Because the women that you see that you're trying to help, how many of them do you see you in them?
Oh my God, I remember early in my coaching career, I could feel judgment because I'll be triggered. And I'll be like, oh my God, you can't show up effectively and be a coach if you're going to be judging the situation. Like, you get to go clear that shit out and come back. And so I noticed a lot of that. But what was beautiful about it was, cool, this is a mirror. Where do you get to go clean yourself, like your stuff up? Like, there's something else here that gets to be healed. Like, we were in my group the other day, and one of the ladies in my group was like, when I met Carrie, we did a transformational training together. And she said, when I met Carrie, she straight up told me, I don't like you. And I was like, I did. I totally did.
And you were like that.
Yeah, I
Now,
was
you were
totally blunt and honest. I was like, I don't like you. But later, as she and I began to get to know each other, we were in a year-long container together. I expressed to her, you really brought up a lot of stuff around my mom. This was 6 years ago. We became friends. Now
yeah.
she does a lot of work with me, which is hilarious. I was a little abrasive in the beginning,
Hey, uh,
but it is funny. Now when I have those moments, it's like I'm an appreciation. Because it's reflecting to me somewhere I get to heal.
absolutely. How does it? How does that work? What? How does these topics work for women that's trying to date or trying to get a good person, a different half? What are you seeing in your marketplace, in your with your clients? Like, what are you seeing the major?
Well, what I definitely see is a lot of attracting the same relationship dynamic that their parents. I see a lot of that. And it's interesting because, yes, that's what we were shown as normal.
You're right. Cycles.
So I totally get that part. Like, yes, we were shown
Yeah.
this as normal, but is it really the version that I want? Is it the healthiest version? The best, does the best version of me show up in that dynamic? That's the question that I'm constantly asking myself. And if that's the case, if it's not the case, then I get to change that. Okay, so what's a better dynamic? But the tendency that I do see from people is to create that same dynamic because it's familiar. It's a familiar,
Yeah,
but it's
because
familiar.
it's familiar because it's easy.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
And
Because from there, it's easy. Let me ask you: if I was a client, if I was a woman, right, and I want to say that. What would be some of your recommendations for men dealing with women that you have in your circle? Because some of our views is men and women, and then you come out with so many different angles. What would be your recommendations or your encouragement to boost self-esteem for like guys being simped or girls being taken advantage of? You mean because we both been in in up, down, sideways, backwards, all the way different. And how does it improve your mental health and your well-being?
mm, oh, there's a whole lot to this question.
Okay,
So
let's keep it really simple. Really, it's
really
really
simple is,
because
for one,
yeah,
like
keep it really simple.
my partner has his own support system, his own group of guys that he calls, and they have their own little coaching calls, right?
Yeah,
Where they celebrate each other and they come to each other with certain issues that are coming up in their relationship, right? He and I do not go to each other for coaching. That absolutely does not work
I
at
wouldn't
all.
think that would work.
No, it wouldn't work. But you would be surprised how many people think that that works. Let me
Hey,
tell you. Let me tell you.
yeah, 'cause
No.
I mean that was a deep one because he has a brotherhood, you
Mhm.
have a sisterhood. It's almost like having two doctors in the same house with two different perception and viewpoints, one female, one male. You can come together on some issues, but you'll also be like repelling magnets at the same time.
Oh my God, it's very repelling. And so, like, though, and having a lot of grace and patience, understanding, I think one of the biggest things is understanding that I am going to generate some emotions in him, like maybe trigger him. He's going to do the same for me. Those are just invitations to heal. It doesn't mean the relationship is doomed. Oh my God, it's another thing. I think there's an interpretation there sometimes. People think
Oh,
that,
yeah.
oh, when I find the one, everything will be amazing. And I'm like, what the fuck did you come up with that? This is not Disney. No.
I was just you where you gonna find that? Yeah. But then that's really, really interesting because like you said, you would assume it would be hunky dory, all family, gun, roses, this and that. But it works out the opposite at sometimes because
Mhm.
you have two strong-headed, educated people with different experiences, perceptions, emotions, and back trauma that affects that thing. How do you mediate that when you guys are both mediators?
Well, for me, like learning to let go of being right. Because I want to be
Holy,
right.
a big one.
And dating someone that's an attorney too, I'm like,
Yeah.
there's this competitive part of me that's like, let me fucking show him that he's wrong right now. But what does that do? Right?
What is
Like,
it?
do anything. He doesn't know it all. He might at work, but he may not know it all here. Right? Like, there's that
Right.
part, that the energy that comes up. And then I'm just kind of like, oh, like
What does it get you?
it doesn't get you anywhere. It just creates more conflict. And who wants to be in more conflict? But I know in the beginning there was such a big power struggle
Of
there.
course. Of
And
course.
so really it is about relinquishing the being right and be like, okay, how can we come together for the greater good of the relationship? Like, where do we get to go from here? And I don't give a shit who's right.
Yes. Is it
For
the
me, I
ego or
want
the
resolution.
feminine?
I'm not a feminist. I
But you
disagree.
was on the cusp.
Yes, 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 yes. I was a lot in that energy. And honestly,
Yeah.
I feel like that is really sparked by unhealed trauma. The feminism
Yeah.
movement is sparked by unhealed trauma. And I'm just like, wow, you got a lot of fucking wounded people going out in the world, like creating this tribe. And I just don't feel like it spreads and that it's really is spreading love like they say it is. That's just my
Yeah,
personal opinion.
it doesn't when I see it on YouTube, I see some of the people and I see how everything has changed. You know what I mean? I'll be 57 in like a month or so, right? I've seen a lot, but what I've seen on how this world works now with the feminism, the simping, the giving it all to stuff, and the attitudes, it's just simply amazing. Where did it go wrong? Or like where did it go left when it's supposed to be kind of like an even keel? It was just a money grab and a movement for certain women to drop on this. Like, yeah, I don't need this. I've worked with all kind of different people, but it's like, how does it affect the belief system and how it is changed for the future? It's so deep.
It's a lot of angry people. And those are not my people. Those definitely are not my clients. Those women are not going to be the women that are attracted to my space because my
But they
space is about being a lot more softer and to
But
to come
how is
together
that
in resolution.
transition?
Pardon me?
How is that transition? Because you was once a
Self-awareness.
little, and then you
Yeah.
might have some of your clients like that. Like we said, it's like, man, you're talking all this stuff, and you might have a client like, that's right, Charlie, with fuck those man, that isn't.
Oh my God. Well, so I'll share about what really supported me was I wasn't able to go back and have clearing conversations with every single man I was in relationship with.
Okay,
But
yeah,
when I first started dating Abel and I was moving out here to California, we'd been dating for a couple of years. I was cleaning up some stuff and like I had items and stuff that were from a past relationship and stuff. And there was some communication there. And before when I was talking to my ex-partner and then I was talking to Abel and
mhm.
Abel said, when you meet with him, you get to have a clearing conversation with him. And I was like, hold on,
Man,
I'm
man.
like, I've had conversations with him. And he was like, no, you really get to have like an authentic clearing conversation and come from appreciation because this man was with
Nice.
you for 6 years and helped you find recovery and like went into all of these things. And I was like, oh man, you're right. I don't know that I've expressed, like sometimes you think you express it,
You think you,
but
yeah,
you
right.
don't. I don't know that I've had a conversation like that. So he came over to my house to drop some things off and we had I was able to share with him. I was like, because he's like, I can't believe you move, you're going to move to California, but good luck and all the things. And I was like,
Absolutely.
I got to tell you, thank you. And then I went into all the ways that he showed up for me throughout the 6 years and expressed my
Wow.
gratitude for everything that I could possibly remember. And I was like, I wouldn't be where I am today and be able to have a healthy relationship if it weren't for all the experiences that I had with you. And at the time, I didn't appreciate it for what it was, but afterwards, I was like, oh, wow, like, what an amazing experience I had. And what an incredible human being to be able to be there for me for that period of time.
But then again, look at Abel. This is why I like him already, because he's comfortable in himself. He actually encouraged you to have this deep conversation,
Hmm.
and he's confident about himself with you having that, because that right there, you got to release all your baggage with him. You got to show the person you became that was just so amazing. And at the same time, it's just so keen to watch because you have a strong person in Abel. He trusted you enough to have this conversation because he knows you doing that is going to release so much negative energy, and he can put you on a different plane, a
God,
different level.
that conversation represented,
So much.
and it was just such a, like, I didn't realize how powerful it was going to be, but it was so unbelievably healing. And I have a good relationship with him today. And because there's no reason not to.
It's not, but that's
I
the
think people come up with this idea of, oh, well, we're not together anymore, we can't be friends. Well, I don't think that's true.
no. You can be the best of friends of everything else because of the trauma, of the
Yeah.
acceptance, of what you did, what you guys both did together, pain, struggles, everything else.
Yeah.
And it's the same with me having my first daughter's my first daughter's mom. Like I'll go to Hawaii and walk in the house like I own the place, basically. And I still like, hey, what's up? And her husband, like, they used to be childhood sweethearts, this and that. I broke her heart. I mean, she turned me into I just back in the day, but we had that conversation. We had this thing. We're best of friends, and she taught me one of the best lessons through all the stuff we've been through. All the day. She forgave me, and she went on the path with Jesus and with the church and all the stuff and like stuff like
Wow.
that. Right? Her husband Sammy did everything he could for them, but at the same time, that conversation you had, okay, is perfect because how much you can move forward from releasing all of that stuff.
Oh
Right?
my God. Yeah.
I mean, it like you said, he represented so much. And he also represented a pivotal point in your life that Abel gave you a present. Look at it
Mhm.
that way.
Oh my
He
God.
gave
Yeah.
you a present and he encouraged you to do this because he knows what comes after. Right?
Yes.
That's the type of presence, grace from a man that you can love. Not
Mhm.
many men can do that.
Yeah. Like when he shared that with me, because at first I was kind of like, well, what do you mean? Um,
Apprehensive. Oh yeah, like what? Who did?
well, in my mind, I had already done that. Like, you just need to do it one time. Well, that's not necessarily true if there's still some unfinished stuff there. And you know it in your soul. If it's coming up for you. And I didn't realize that it was going to come up until he walked in the door of my apartment. And I was like,
Did you
oh,
get
yeah.
shocked?
I was like, I get to have this conversation. Like, I felt it in
Oh,
my body. Like, I was ready.
nice.
And
Nice.
it was so emotional. And he actually was like, he cried and he was just like, he goes, it means so much to me
True.
for you
Very.
saying that. And I realized that I never made it, like, I never expressed my appreciation to him ever. And like in the 6 years that we were together, I'd tell you everything you were doing wrong, but I wasn't
Not
really there
everything
to
right.
show, yes, I wasn't there to share the gratitude and the appreciation I had for you. Like, that
That's
was like,
that's just. But see,
that shows weakness.
it
That
shows weakness, but
in my head, I felt
vulnerability.
that.
Yeah, that's your old belief on all your from the steps from your dad. But that vulnerability also showed how much true strength can come out of it, and it
Yeah.
was pushed from Abel, right? Because if he didn't do it, you would have not done it. There's no freaking way.
Yeah, I would have avoided it. And I think
Of
that
course,
was another lesson is it's just like, how many opportunities have I had that I avoided these types of conversations? There's always another level of growth, another level of clearing and freedom. But am I choosing it or am I running from it?
that is really huge. But man, what time is it? Jeez, here we go. We're just killing time again. Hey, I mean, it got
I'm
really,
good.
it's beautiful because that is something that the vulnerability, the imperfections, the recap of, let's say, you're focused on a life that you can grow together with your man. We need more men like Abel, but then he also did a lot of work also, right? Because
Yes.
the conviction he has, the encouragement, the pushing of the bound. He has boundaries. He has a brotherhood. This is why I named the program Boundaries and Brotherhood, because to break boundaries, you need to have boundaries, to have your self-esteem with your integrity and your principles. But then you also have to be confident in yourself to have vulnerable action with yourself so that you can push your other half in the right direction. Because, man, I applaud that man, because what he has done for you, the healing, if you want to look down all the list of what he did for you by just that one gesture, and to have the confidence, because, with the man, your ex, that represented all your past relationship, the trauma, the baggage, the stuff, and he stuck with you through all this stuff. I bet you he would. This is why you guys can still be the best of friends, a good friends, like somebody to talk to, somebody's, because you can have laugh about it. Hey, remember the time I did this? Oh yeah, I was a jackass. Or remember the time I did this? Yeah, you can laugh about it, because those are things that not what to do with, say, a man like Abel himself. It shows a different type of playing field, right? Let me ask you this. In fact, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna have you close this out, because this is where we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you to be able to practice this type of close. Because ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Miss Carrie Pullaro, you know what I mean? It's just great to see how much a person can grow in the shortest amount of time if you put the deep actual work into yourself and actually apply some of the crap. Because nobody's perfect, nobody's relationship perfect, everybody has trauma, everybody has beliefs. But I wanted to leave that with Carrie, and let's say, so we can figure out our next show, right? Because this is her thing. Together with her, I'm building something for her to actually be proud of in her business.
Of course, when you're done running from the fear of what's on the other side, like, that's when you can get into the possibility. Because the reality is, like, on the other side of the resistance is where you're going to find your freedom. I mean, that really is the truth.
What would be some big promises what would be 5 promises by doing the work you've done to the new self? Because some women are going to watch this. What are 5 big promises that you could make if you do work with, say, with you, do the work, find you a coach, whatever. What would be the 5 top promises you didn't know back then that you know now?
Okay, I'm going to find a level of acceptance of myself that will allow me to view the world in a different way. Honestly, I feel like that's the number that's the number one. I'm gonna find peace. I'm not gonna be the anxiousness and the angst of every single day. I used to think I had ADD. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have ADD. I'm just really fucking anxious because I'm not dealing with a lot of this stuff.
That's 3.
Yeah, the peace. I think the big part too was I will find what truly makes me happy, what I enjoy. I remember when I first met you, I had just moved into my apartment, Gordon, and I remember everything in my apartment was white because I didn't know what I liked. I would always conform to what other people liked. So it was like learning about myself, like learning what I enjoyed and that being okay.
That's big.
And I think the connection with myself, my connection with God, with myself is profound.
Nice.
Because it's not blocked anymore. I know exactly where I'm going at all times if I'm tuning in to that frequency.
We can talk with it. We can know about whole.
That's a topic that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I take a class every Monday night, and that was something that came up in our class last night. And I was just like, oh, yeah, this is really good.
No, that's a perfect way to end this one, because we can talk about that high level frequencies, the energy, your openness to the Lord up above, everything was. But that was beautiful. Actually, guys, we're going to have to applaud that. If you're watching this on a replay, please follow Carrie. If your wife needs some help, we're going to direct you to Miss Pullaro. She's all over the place right now. She can help your relationships. She's been through it. Trust me, guys, she's been through it. And give my love to Abel, please, because I love that he did that for you to see you grow into this amazing person. You mean any closing remarks? Because that was kind of deep one.
No, I think we're good with that.
Okay, we're gonna put it. All right, guys.
My God.
Don't worry about it. Find her on her social media, guys. She's around.
Oh my God. You threw me off.